This is the Seek and Find Articulation Mat Bundle. So within this bundle, there are 3 different sounds that you can choose from. So each bundle comes with a picture mat and then a word list that corresponds with that picture mat. So we have the k sound and we have the ol sounds with the word list, and then the s sound and the word list. And there is all positions on this mat, so you may have to judge for yourself whether you find that this is too busy for the kiddos that you work with, and maybe you're covering up half of the mat if you find that it's just too overwhelming for the kiddos. Like I said, you might have to play around with how well they do with this whole seek and find idea with all of these pictures, but if you have any questions about it, just reach out to your SLP and we can help you brainstorm that. But along with the picture mats, then there are corresponding what we call clue cards that match each sound picture mat. So these are the k cards that would go with this k mat. So obviously, depending upon what sound you're targeting for the kiddos that day, whether you're doing a group activity or just an individual activity, just pick the sound that you want to work on that day and then just put the others away, obviously. And then just use your corresponding clue cards. And again, this can be adjusted to fit the level of the children. Obviously, an early learner, we're not going to have them read the clue cards because they can't read. So the adult obviously would try to give them the clues, and then they find the picture within the bigger picture. And you can have them find the pictures 2 different ways. You can use like a bingo chip and have them just cover up the pictures as they find them after you give them the clue. And then once your target pictures are all covered, if you're using the Chipper Chat tokens, they have the metal on the edge, and so you can use the magic wand and scoop them up and make it fun that way. But really, use whatever token you want. It could be coins, it could be bingo chips, it could be the Chipper Chat ones, you know, you name it, you get to choose. So again, these clue cards could be used a variety of ways. Like the adult could read the clue and see if the child can guess and find the picture that this one is talking about. So for example, this says, I spy something that starts with the k sound. It's a kind of farm animal. It gives us milk. It says moo. What is it? And it would be interesting to see if the kids can actually guess when you give them the clue. That's ultimately the goal, is that they would say cow, and then they're looking to find the cow. And then when they find the cow, they put the token on the picture, right? That might be too challenging for some of our early learning kiddos. They might just need to see the picture, and you might still give the clues, but then you're showing them the picture so they can then match the picture in the larger one to help them out. So they might need that little bit of extra support that way. And maybe for some kiddos, that's just too many words that you're saying. It's just a matter of matching the picture to the bigger picture, if that makes sense. So that's kind of one way to target the pictures. And then obviously once they find the match, then you can have them produce their sound. So if they're just practicing at word level, obviously they're just going to say cow, but maybe they're practicing in phrases and you're saying things like, I have a cow, or maybe your phrase is just a 2-word phrase and it's my cow, or you're doing sentences, right? And you could just make up sentences like, you know, the cow says moo, whatever you want to say. So again, this is all targeted for the level of practice that the child is at. So you need to tailor it to what level is most appropriate for them. And again, like I said, you can give this individually to the kids where you just give them one mat. That being said, the set only comes with 1 mat per sound. If you're feeling like you want kids to have their own mat, just go ahead and copy. if you're going to do a group situation with the same sound. But you can also just use one mat for a group of kids, and then they just take turns finding the picture within the bigger one. And then you're working together to fill up all the pictures on the mat and then clean it off. So using the tokens is one way that you could find the pictures. And again, on the instruction sheets, it gives you an option of using dry erase markers too. So the exact same kind of idea. You can either use the clue cards, you're giving them the clue and then they find the picture, or they're just matching the picture on the clue card to the bigger picture, and then they just like circle it with a dry erase marker, or like scribble it out, put an X on it, like whatever. That part doesn't matter. You guys get to decide that. And then when all of the target pictures are found, then you can just use an eraser or a cloth and just wipe it off. So again, you're going to tailor it for whatever practice level the child is at, whether it's words, phrases, sentences. And let me just see if there's anything else that I've missed. Oh, look, on the back, it talks about option 3 is a language activity, because this obviously is a really great vocabulary activity for those kiddos that maybe they're not working on the k sound, but you can draw other kids in with the children who are practicing their sounds, and it could just be a language activity for them, because for them, maybe it's just naming the different pictures on the mat. It's then maybe having them listen to the clues and they're having to find the picture on the mat, because that is much more of a language activity. And then maybe other kids are describing the pictures as they find them. And so they're having to generate some language that way, and work on vocabulary that way. So there's a lot going on with this activity, and you can do it in a lot of different ways, which is really cool. So you can work on speech sounds as well as language activities. So again, if there's any questions about this, please reach out to your SLP.